Hello everybody. Today I'll be showing you how to use the Folium Python library. Folium is used for making maps and visual representations of geographical data. I won't be going into all the details about Folium in this video, but rather just a few of the basics, along with an example I think you'll find useful. In the next video, I'll go into detail about some more functionality of Folium found in the plugins package. If you're using Folium, it is best to have some knowledge of a database language such as Pandas. Let's get started. The first thing we want to do is write out our imports up at the top. I like to have display and NumPy here as well in case I ever need them. The next thing we need to do is import our dataset. I made this dataset by myself and it's not very big. I'll make sure to put this dataset along with this notebook in a GitHub repo so you guys can try it out on your own. The first thing to learn when using Folium is the Folium.map object. As you can see, this just plots out the entire Earth. I've listed some of the main parameters that you want to know when using the map object. For location, you'll want to pass in a list of latitude and longitude. This is where the map will be centered. In just a second, I'll show you how to get the coordinates of a point on the map by using your mouse. The tiles parameter is the type of map which gets displayed. You can think of it as the style of the map. I personally prefer CartoDB Positron because it has a nice balance between detail and visibility. For zoom start, you'll want to play around with it, but I like to keep it between 8 and 12. Width and height are usually good between 500 each, and control scale should be set to true for most interactive maps. Let's see how it looks now. As you can see, the map has been zoomed in on the area around San Francisco, and the style of the map has also changed. Now I can zoom in with using my scroll wheel. Now let's move on to some features you can add to your map. The lat long pop-up displays the coordinates of any point you click on the map. This can be useful when you're trying to find a general location to center your map. As we can see, wherever I click, it displays the latitude and longitude of that point. Get used to seeing the add to syntax here, because many other attributes of Folium use this. The next feature to add is a marker on mouse click. As you'd expect, this places a marker where you click on the map and records the coordinates. And if we click on the marker, it'll have the coordinates for it. Now I'll show you how to add markers and lines to a map. The first marker is like the one we just saw. To add one, you'll want to use this code. Location is the same before, a list of latitude and longitude. For the icon parameter, you'll want to pass in a folium.icon object. To customize this object, make sure to pass in a glyph icon name, such as this one here. You can find more at this website. Simply copy and paste a name into the icon, and make sure the prefix is glyph icon. For every marker, you can add a pop-up and a tooltip. The pop-up appears when you click on the object, and the tooltip appears when you hover over it. Two other variants of markers are the regular polygon marker and the circle marker. For these, you can customize the shape and size. I think it's a little bit nicer than the original markers which show up. Moving on to lines. When you want to make a line, you'll need to pass in a list of coordinates for the line to be drawn. Make sure you pass in a list of lists. You can see here, this is one list of latitude longitude point and another list of latitude and longitude point. Then we make the line using folium.polyline, lat longs, which is this list of lists, and we can give it a weight, a pop-up, and a tooltip, and make sure to add it to the map. Now let's see how the map looks. As we can see, here's the marker from this marker. Here's the polygon made, and here's the polygon made from the regular polygon marker, and the circle made from the circle marker. Our line, which should say first line, is right here. Now that you know the basics, we can start working with our data. Here's a small data set I made, just so I can give you an example of how we can use what we learned with Folium. We'll be working with vehicles and plotting their locations. As you can see, this data set contains the vehicle ID, the latitude and longitude, and the time that it was at that latitude and longitude. The first thing we want to do is just plot out the points so we can get a view of the data. Since we want to go through all the rows, we'll want to use the data frame iter rows. So we'll make a for loop for I in and then we want to, for index and row, and then for each row, we'll want to plot, let's say, a circle marker. So let's take the circle marker. And now we'll want to get the latitude and longitude from the row. So we can do that simply by doing row, and since we named it latitude, do row latitude, comma, row longitude. And now we can give the pop-up a more useful name, or more useful information. For example, we can do row and the vehicle ID, and maybe for the tooltip, we'll do row and time. Add to map 1, and then at the end, we'll display map 1. Oops, sorry, I didn't remove the other thing from map 1. Give me one sec. And here we see all the vehicle locations that we plotted for the entire data set. Next, we're going to plot the lines of travel for each vehicle. And this might be a bit more code, but I think it should be easy enough to explain. So when we want to get each vehicle, we'll want to filter by each unique vehicle ID. So we want to group the data by that. So to do that, we'll use the unique attribute of the vehicle ID list. So we'll do for I in df vehicle ID dot unique, which gives us a list of the unique values in the vehicle ID list. And now we'll want to create a smaller data frame simply containing these vehicles, these rows actually. So we'll do df filtered by df where vehicle ID equals I. And now let's say we have this data set. We'll want to go through it and get points so we can make a line. So we'll need to iterate through it again with another for loop, but this time we'll just want to go through however many rows there are. So we'll do for j in range, and to get the number of rows we can do underscore data dot shape and 0, and that gives us the amount of rows. And we want to make sure to subtract 1 from that so we don't go over. And now we'll want to make the latitude longitude list of lists so that lines can be made. It will say lat long equals a list, comma, another list, and in this we'll do underscore data when we have to do iLook in order to get the specific row, and then we'll do latitude, comma, and we can just copy this, and then it'll just be longitude, and then if we copy this whole thing, we might have to do it again. I'll just indent here to make it easier to read, and make sure to increase j by 1. Let's see. Good, nice. And now we'll put this folium.polyline here, and that will make the line. So we folium.polyline. The location for the line is latitude, longitude, color orange. Now here I did pop-up equals data.iLook, so it gives us the row at j and gives us the vehicle ID. And then tooltip will give us the time for that same row. And make sure to add to the map. Let's see how it looks. So now we can see that each of these lines represents where a vehicle started and ended. And let's see, look at our previous map. Looks about right. Let's look over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's all I have for this video. I want to make sure I kept it short just for the bare basics. Thanks for watching, and I hope this tutorial gave you some information on how to use Folium. If you have any tips or advice, I'd love to hear them in the comment section. The next video I'll go over some plugin features which come with Folium, such as heat map and ant paths and other cool stuff. Thanks for watching.